We're now recording. Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow councillors, to the December F&GP meeting. So we'll kick off with the agenda, and 21-22-93, apologies for absence. Do we have any apologies for absence?
Councillor Owen.
Councillor Owen, okay. Do we have a book, or do we not do that on this meeting? Proposed.
Usually
I propose.
Yeah.
Propose.
Occasionally read.
Yeah.
Propose.
Okay. Propose. Seconded by Philippa Gibbons. All in favour? Okay. Thank you very much. 21-22-94, disclosures of interest, to receive declarations of interest from councillors on items on the agenda. Do we have any, please?
No.
No. Do we have any from councillors in the room? No. No written requests, I heard Nicholas say, so we're not going to receive them because there aren't any. So we'll move on to 21-22-95, the minutes, as the correct record of the Finance and General Purpose held on the 10th of November, with a typo on the agenda, my bad. So anyone, any comments on the agenda, on the minutes rather? Doesn't sound like any. Anyone want to propose them as we accept them as a true record?
Why not?
Yeah, why not indeed. It's proposed by Councillor Good, seconded by Councillor Williams. All those who are here in favour, say aye. Okay, that's unanimous. Was that unanimous, Robert?
Yeah.
Did you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Abstention, I wasn't here.
Yeah, you weren't here. Okay, so all in favour with an abstention from Councillor Clough and... Well, you were here though, weren't you?
Yeah,
I was here.
Robert?
Yeah.
You was,
Yeah.
Okay.
It says it in minutes.
Right, okay, moving swiftly on then, before we get sidetracked. 21-22-96, confidential items to be discussed under item 21-22-106. So if I just flip forward for the benefit of the camera to 106, which is the SIL policy review. I'm not quite sure why the SIL policy is... Yeah, let me just go back and say, am I reading that right, councillors? It says...
That's what it says. I'm not sure that's what it
106.
should.
Is that right?
It should be. It should be 108, shouldn't it?
Let's go forward to 108. So I suspect that that's not right. Yes, 108. Okay. And then we got the cleaning contract, which would be in private session. Yeah. So anyone else got anything to add to the cleaning contract that you think is? I've got one item of confidentiality. BDMC don't want to release their gritting scoring sheet to the general public. So they would, if we're going to discuss the actual scoring sheet,
All right,
sheet
I see.
itself,
Right. Yeah.
because they don't want to bias the public.
Right.
So it's not, I think the gritting as a subject could stay in the public domain.
Yeah.
It's just to be aware of the scoring sheet itself.
Is it the scoring sheet or is it the scored scoring sheets?
I've no idea. Either way,
Yeah.
we have discussed in public the relative merits of different grit bins in different sites.
Yeah.
So in terms of the score. So I think I think it's probably the scoring sheet, but I don't know the answer to that. Philippa and Ruth is not here. So we have none other. So we'll leave the agenda as it is. Is that all agreed?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So public participation. We do have a member of the public here. Welcome, Kathleen. Good to see you again. Any contribution? I would remind you that your opportunity to speak to the meeting on any topic whatsoever.
Right now.
Right now.
Okay.
Yes.
I would like to speak, but I also, as a member of the public, would like to not have my views published.
Okay.
I'd like to stay anonymous, please.
Okay.
In that case,
Does that
Chair,
mean we've
should
got
we
to
have
turn
that?
this off?
Ah, I see. Okay. No, I'm sorry, I didn't get your meaning there. Right. Okay. So what I'm going to do then, Catherine, I'm going to mute the microphone because
later. Take care.
Okay, and we're back live with 21/22/98 bank reconciliation. To receive and agree the bank reconciliation statement for November 2021 to follow.
Point of order. Did
Yeah.
we not do this last night?
I kind of thought we did, and I didn't even bring it with me tonight because I thought we did it. I was looking at the agenda thinking there's something wrong with this agenda, and that was one of the points I thought. So we did this last night, Nicola, didn't we?
The bank reconciliation. Yes, we did.
We did.
Did we?
So-
Do you want a copy? I can
Yeah, they did.
right
No,
now.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
We didn't do it last night.
We didn't.
We did.
We did.
did.
Well, we think we did.
Yes.
Right. So moving swiftly on then.
Statement and bank
So
reconciliation.
I'm going to move next business.
Yeah.
So moving swiftly on to 1 second, I'll get this thing working
It's
again.
internal audit, which again
We did last night.
We did that
Well,
last
we
night.
can
yeah.
note it again tonight. It was duly noted.
Duly
And
noted.
we'll move swiftly on to the big event of the night, the budget discussions. The budget you see in front of you is a budget I did first thing this morning because it takes some explaining, and I can throw it up on the PC on the big screen if you want to see it, because what's missing from this, which I wanted to be here,
Consciously.
was the calculation of how I got here.
Oh, right.
So if I throw my one up and talk to my one so that I'm looking at it and then talk you through it. So the email I sent to Eve reads as follows. A new column AA, which was out here in the white space. It's not on it, John.
No,
Don't even
okay,
bother.
no.
So I put a new column in.
Can you pull it up on the screen?
I could do if you want me to.
Oh, yeah.
That's I
Yeah,
didn't
might
realise
be.
when I
That's big
until I
enough.
looked down.
Yeah.
Yes, is that helpful to the
Yeah,
reader?
Yeah, it might be, yeah.
Right, okay, well then apologies for messing around like this.
Is it? Oh,
What?
is? Oh, I forget this thing's working. So I don't know whether I can ask questions. What I can ask. But he's going to explain it.
I am, but I can explain it on here because my on here has those extra columns in it.
No, you see, this final suggested precept on here is same as the one on the previous one with
It's close,
yeah
maybe not the
with
same.
that but there's nothing on for CP in here.
No, because it's all been taken out of budgets this year,
This
which
year,
was
yeah.
the mission to go
So
find.
so will that not reduce the will that,
Precept.
no will that not reduce the money going forward that you use as a figure to
precept.
determine precept?
If you take money out of a budget, you're going to affect the money going on because you're taking
Yeah,
it
it's
from
going
effect.
forward, isn't it?
Yeah, because if you don't spend it, what happens is it falls into general reserves. And general reserves are added up by the spreadsheet at the bottom there to say this is the money you left in general reserves. And this is right. Okay, so that's the Word document that is actually the email. So I'll throw up the Excel spreadsheet. And I don't know whether you can see that, Maureen.
Yeah, I can see it.
And let me just go back to, yeah, I was going to go back to, right, so, on this side, there was another column, AA, this column here, that column there. Right. So what I did was, I took the actual budget we set, which was this column, column I. So we had a budget on this line here for 25,000, right? And we had a projected figure on the sheet that you had last night of something different. And if I click on there, it was 6,033. So if you look on this line here, guys, that first figure was the figure in that box. Right? So I took 20,000 from the budget, I took 6,000 off it, and that left that underspend, which was 18,967, and I said, okay, looking at that budget line, which is 17,000 odd, was
Grants.
got. Oh, we down. Are we down at? Oh, I'm sorry. We're down at grants. Yeah. Okay. So we're down at grants was that, So I'm saying, well, we're never going to spend 25,000. We've got 3 months to go. We know there's a couple of little grants coming through, 500 quid. So let's target the grant fund and via £11,000 from the grants fund. So if you look at this column here, you've got some reds in there, this underspent column. So we've overspent on that one. We've overspent on those red ones. There's the big overspend there of
14,000 or something.
yeah,
The locum clerk.
yeah, the locum clerk, Tracy,
God.
Is there a reason why we haven't got that printed on there?
because Eve hasn't printed it, because you have to adjust the print area when you print in Excel. So
Right.
she's just hit the print button, which prints the previous print and not
I can
reassume
print
the
that
print.
now if you want.
Yeah, I don't know whether you want to print 8 copies of it so we've all seen. But
I don't need it.
It's essentially, I think, Philip was on the case. So this 9784 down there was a figure of 44,484. So what that means is, when I looked at the budget this morning and looked, the underspend of the council this year was 44,484.
Right.
So I was charged to go away and find the seal money, which was in the business case yesterday, for 14,700. I seem to remember from last night. But I went and found 34,700, which is the £20,000 government money as well.
Right.
So this budget assumes no money from the government. Right.
Yeah.
So what I did was I set this new column up, took away the projected spend, which gave me the column you saw there with the pluses and minuses on it, which
I understand what you've done now. You were confusing me with you.
yeah, because I've then moved
Because you've gone back and moved it. You've then gone back
I've
and
had
put
to
it in the
move them back.
projected, didn't you?
I've had to move them back to projected to get the
yeah.
final precept figure.
Yeah.
Did you follow that, guys?
No.
Right. Okay.
Not at all.
Okay. If I run down this projected column and you watch.
Well, I
that
can't
figure-
see it, you see.
Oh.
I can't see it, so.
Well, okay, that figure is 926. It says 926. Right.
Have we got what might be easier for some people is
Nicola's just printing one.
no,
for
I was
John-
just going to
John.
say the original before you change the projected. Because
then you can see it's in
Because
that,
then you can see the change.
I haven't got it.
You don't
unless-
have that.
The only way I can
There
do
you've got
that.
the actual, haven't you? There.
Well, the only way I can do that, Philippa, is to reverse this spreadsheet using the reverse button at the top, go back it and then forward again. But that will adjust some formatting and all that sort of stuff. But if you can see, it's on there, John.
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
926.
Yeah.
Do you want do you want the budget code, or is that irrelevant to you at this point in time?
No.
Right, so if you look on that top one, it says 926.
Yeah.
Right. So if I just click down here, that one until I get to one that's a formula.
Yeah.
Right. Now, they all change. If you watch that top formula box, right, that one,
So that box right up there.
that box there.
Right.
Yeah, it was 70. This is
Oh, I see what you. I
this
see
is
what you're doing.
salaries.
Yeah.
Right. So
I see. That's taking the underspend off that, and that's the result.
so I'm stealing 6,700.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I'm stealing. 6,700 off that, which gives you a new year total of that.
Right.
So we had a budget of 86.
Yeah.
We're still coming up short of 83.9.
Yeah.
We've still got a surplus of 2.1.
Yeah.
But we've actually got 6,700 in the bank.
Right.
Is
Okay.
that the right document? Because I can print those out.
That is the right document, and I wonder whether or not you can print it. Well, in fact, can you?
Do it on A3, okay?
You should be able to size it to print on one page, but
Yeah.
I don't know how readable
we
it'll
need
be
the
there.
columns A, B as well, Nicola.
Right.
But I think we're on the case
Yeah,
now.
it's all right. I
Right.
understand.
So if we now go down, you can see the next one that has a formula in it, and I'm looking again at this top box here.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah.
So this one, whatever that figure is,
18,530, yeah.
22,000.
Yeah. It's 13,000. So that's 5,000 less.
That is running cost toilets.
Right.
So there's 5,000
That's
slack in there.
Yeah.
So there's still £1,700
Yeah.
left in there
Okay.
at the year end.
Right, yeah.
But just on that one,
Yeah.
and I suppose a more general point, were we happy that the projected spends were reasonable before you started.
I'm going to trust the clerk, who is the RFO, who says this is the projected spend for the year end, and
'Cause that-
as she's not
that-
here,
She'll
That
just be
wouldn't-
extrapolating them out, won't she? Simple enough.
I guess we can't question the clerk at this point in time, Philippa, but
No, I was
it's a
just
good
going to say
question.
that one in particular, given some of the other things we might be talking about later, looks.
Well,
I mean, I suppose you've left a couple of grand in it, but
yeah. I think that's fair enough. I don't think the RPI is going to do too much. Thank you.
Is that the one with the extra column?
Yeah.
Does
Brilliant.
everybody want to cover?
Does that help you? That's the extra column. That's that with the extra
Yeah, I've
column.
seen that. Yeah.
Right, so if we go down here looking again for those formulas in that top formula bar, there's another one, 20,000 F&GP, that's grants, so that's the grants. It was looking at 4020, it's now 17,000, or the projected was was 6,033. And it's now 17,000 because there's £11,000 lifted from it in theory. So what I've done is I've found the 34,700. Of course, if the government come up with money before January the 18th,
Yeah.
this budget benefits from 20 grand. But given the fact that we may well already have wired money away, it will just go straight into our reserves. Because the clerk will receive 20,000 quid from Bradford and put it through the bank account against changing places, and it will then kick round and we'll wire some money back out the other way. January meeting will resolve that.
or do we just via it on that day?
On that day, yeah.
That way we know we're
There's
not
a lot of
going to be
stuff
moving
missing.
it around.
Didn't complete.
Isn't, yeah.
No,
okay.
there's not to do with grants on there.
Oh, well,
You just mentioned 20,000 the grants, and it's
Yeah.
not. It's not in here because this
Yeah,
is.
it says.
on the other page.
Is it 25,000?
Turn it over.
25,000.
Turn it over.
25,000.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, 25,000.
I didn't know it were on the side. Sorry.
Yeah, it's 17.
So,
Looking
any
at-
questions on the process
Yeah,
of what I did to find 34,700?
Would it be easier, Steve, just to say, you know, I mean, obviously I know what
Which
you
ones?
explained, where are we taking the money out, then probably it'd be easier
Yeah.
for us
Yeah,
to know.
well, there you go.
Yeah,
Let
you
me
know, if
put
you just
in,
say it, you know, then
yeah,
at least we
I'll
can.
tell you what I'll do on here then is,
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think would be?
That's what I tend to
You
do.
don't just
yeah.
make those lines
no,
different
what I'm
colour.
going to do is look at that, and I am going to view is freeze the panes. Unfreeze panes, right, and then I'm going to freeze them again there. Right, so let's go back along here then. Right, so to answer your question then,
Yeah.
is coming down here. The first one is staffing,
Stuff.
6,700 stolen from the staffing budget because of an underspend.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, £5,000 running cost toilets.
Yeah.
£11,000 on grants, which is currently running at 6. So that still leaves still leaves nearly £8,000 in grants, which I think will still be underspent. £12,000 from regeneration and tourism,
Yeah.
because they say that is a fairly large budget there. And that totals at the bottom 34,700,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which funds the CP toilets from the 40 grand in reserves and the wired money from existing budgets. So it doesn't touch the SIL and it doesn't touch the government money. So if the government money comes in, we've got £20,000 to
Oh,
repopulate,
extra, yeah.
or it drops into general reserves. Yes, Howard.
Steve, you said it showed 34,000 at the bottom. Where?
Bottom of the column AB.
You haven't got it.
Oh, you haven't got it?
No,
yeah,
it's just
yeah.
on the
You're
screen.
there.
Yeah.
Got another
Oh,
colour,
yeah.
Howard?
There.
Oh, yeah.
That one there.
I think that's.
So that's how the maths works.
That's good.
I made
Yes.
another point
Okay.
which is germane, is to this. So this Word document is actually an email which I sent to the clerk. Right. So that column there, we need to find in the worst case 34.7 to cater for no government funding and no spending on SIL. That seemed to be the wish of the full council last night. Right. However, I do think there was a case to spend still, especially from the first year's allocation, as it will time out. So whatever SIL we've got in that first year, which is 18-19, that will time out probably before the neighbourhood plan gets approved. So if the theory was to protect sill for the neighbourhood plan, that year will probably be gone by the time we get there. So we've either got to find a grant next year that attacks the sill, or lose it, because we have a responsibility to spend it in 5 years.
Or spend it.
Or spend it on an you've got to be to the sill spending. It's got to be on
I'll spend it
infrastructure.
next year.
Yeah, but it's got to be on infrastructure projects. So there's a list of things.
It is. I've done it, and it isn't going to be allowed in the budget.
Like your Riverside thing.
Yes.
Okay. So what I'm saying though,
That's why I was pleased that's why I pulled out of
okay.
asking those forward, because it didn't come out of that without any
So
problem.
I'm saying there to the clerk, we may wish to think about this to avoid a large precept rise last year, because you can all see what happens to the precept here.
Yeah, perfectly justifiable.
Yeah, no, I get that, John. But you will have a debate in January, and you know you will, and you know who you'll have the debate with.
Yeah, but I don't care.
No, I get that. But
I think they're wrong. I think they're totally wrong.
I get that. But
We'll
if
have
you,
that debate in
yeah,
January.
we'll have that debate in January.
Fine.
But if you do take the sill money, then it has benefit to the precept. The precept will go down.
Yeah.
So because the precept is not being, sorry, the reserves are not being used to fund the precept, if that makes sense, the way the budget works. So there you go. And I've also deleted the 30k budget for the CPT next year in this variation.
Yeah.
And if the government money appears before January full council meeting 18th, we can add it back into various lines, and the money we won't take out, and that'll wash through the general reserves into a lower precept next year. Okay, so that's the 34/7, but we still need to debate the budget and the projects.
Yes.
Right. Thank
All right.
you. I'll go back. I can stop.
You can say yeah if you want. Yeah. So we're still on camera, and we still have the that up on camera. So we're still talking about the budget. So we'll go back to the budget there. And okay,
Can I just ask a question for the budgets, which I know you said yesterday categorically that the budgets for the coming year included everything for the support and maintenance of the CP toilets.
yeah.
Is that correct, and which line is it in?
The running cost of the toilets, we had £10,000 in there somewhere for the running costs. But I think there was my frustration last night was the F&GP have discussed this for the last 3 months on the running cost of the CP toilet. So what we said, we would drop the morning clean of the existing toilets, which would reduce by a third the cost of the existing toilets, and then add some money. So it went from 18,531, or it went from the budget of 2317 to 22, based on a net levelling off of that, and then you yourself added £2,000 for the Lola costings.
Well,
And then that
is
was
there
me-
anything else we need to add? I suppose?
no.
Because last night you were talking about a maintenance contract.
It was 3,200 for a 3-year maintenance contract.
So is
it would-
another 1,000? Is that 1,000 in there?
Well, yes, it's the Lola thing. It would replace the Lola testing.
Right.
Right. So the good news is we're meeting Astor Bannerman next week to go through. And one of the things I've asked him is give us a cost of your support contract if you have one. I'm not convinced that they have one, but they might have one. But we can certainly contract with them if they have. I've also asked him to provide us with whole life costings outside the warranty for damage claims, breakages that they don't honour under warranty. We've got a 3-year warranty with them, but what about vandalism and things like that? So to answer your question about what is the 10-year, 15-year costings for it, we'll try and do that. But I would say again, the business case for this place absolutely physically states that the maintenance cost for this place will be charged on the precept as in the normal manner. It's a simple statement. We have a facility, we function it. So we just need to budget accordingly. But by January the 18th,
We should know better.
we will have definitive. Because I'm also talking to Mark Ruddy still in the background about, he doesn't know that I want to adjust the morning, but I am talking to him about could we float Philip a bit more north of 7:30 whatever. So he's warm to the idea. So yeah, if reassurance is given there, Philippa, we've definitely got that on the case
Okay.
next year. So I don't know what the other councillors feel about the general budget. You know, I think the budget itself is there or thereabouts. And we have that project list, which again I had brought with me, which was raised last night by Councillor Dawson, which is there on the screen.
Yeah.
This is definitely wrong in as much as that goes now. That CP toilet, including servicing costs, goes. It stays there as a priority, but the sorry, that's me clicking buttons. You know, the estimated cost goes because it's not hitting the precept in that way. The grant funding overall, we said we leave at 25,000. Christmas lights are in there. Bingley markets are in there
How come they're only 5,000, Steve?
for Christmas
When
lights.
we're spending nearly 10.
I don't know.
It's
Welcome
10
to
in
the
here,
party.
isn't it?
It's 10 on here.
10 in here.
Okay. Christmas
Yeah,
lights.
it's 10 on here.
Where is it? Point me to a number.
Simple enough.
Well, it's
to
10
do.
for events including Christmas,
Christmas,
isn't it?
yeah.
But does that include play in the park as well?
No.
Yeah,
Playing
yeah
the
there's
park.
10 grand in it.
Yeah, but 10 grand, you need 10 grand for the Christmas lights. Which I think are running at about 8 at the moment.
Okay, well we've got play in the parks in there
At 6.
at 6.
Yeah.
So are you saying that the 10 doesn't cover
No.
both? Okay,
Playing the parks down here separately, isn't it?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So this wasn't a list of what's in the budget. This was a list of
It's
projects,
priorities.
priorities, so that we would allow the if in January council said I'm not putting the precept up by 40%, then we say you've got to cut something. So this was a list of priorities. The ones at the top we had to do. The ones down the bottom we don't.
Is that an old list?
It is an old list. It is an old list. It's the list I got from the website. It's the list that's available on the website.
It's not the list that was circulated then, because we dropped the grants to
20,000.
Okay.
Yeah, we
At
had.
the end of last
I've
meeting.
got to say,
We
the
did.
list needs to be accurate for people to reflect
Yeah,
against stuff.
again, my bad. I got that from the website this morning, and
That's
not
fine,
from
yeah.
the email from
No pictures.
Nicola. So,
Yeah.
okay. So,
That's
in terms of the listing, I think, you know, Councillor Dawson was saying the neighbourhood plan should be higher up on the list, but should it be higher than play in the park and annual reports and newsletters and Bingley markets and the Christmas
I
lights?
don't know if she'd misunderstood
does-
though, because it's a priority 3. It's not the order in
Well,
that
again,
list.
yeah,
is it?
Councillor Curdale was saying we should number them 1 to 15, and we accepted that at the last meeting anyway.
How important is that at this stage? Because, you know, we're not
No,
going to
No.
get that low down, are we?
I don't think we are. No, I don't think we are. I think we're going to target the bottom.
I don't think you need to target anything, but go on.
No. So events. So are you saying, Mark, that we need to increase this 10 on 452A events, including Christmas?
No. 10 should be adequate to cover for what we want.
Okay.
No,
But
I
Chair-
don't, you want 10 for Christmas lights?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not what he's saying.
Well, that's
The chair play in the park is also under 4520 of 6 grand.
Is it?
Yeah, on here, what we've had. So,
Oh, you've got a different, yeah.
yeah, that's what list of priorities which
is that the one with budget codes on it?
Yeah,
Yes, it is, yeah.
Okay. So
That's
that should
how
be
I know.
16.
Should,
it should be 16.
Is it
Okay.
6 grand?
Okay.
Yeah. Well, we
I'll
didn't
tell-
spend that this year, did we?
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we're
No,
going
yeah,
to
we
do
must have
then.
done.
I don't think we.
Yeah, we did. We had some play in the parks, didn't we?
We're going to
did.
say then
Spent
that
3,600. I think the 600 each. There's 6.
Yeah.
I've seen it somewhere that we've already.
that is now 16 then. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that'll change your
It will do.
precept
It will
slightly.
do.
Not much.
Okay. Okay.
Not much.
So running down there, anyone else?
Well, is it worth looking at the differences of each line item? Where there is a difference between what is currently and what's looking forward to.
In terms of the grey and the
Yeah, well, you've got your grey, like, for
Yeah.
example, IT equipment, 1,500, you've gone up to 2,700. You know, is there a need to do that?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
To make to do
well,
everything.
is it-
That-
okay, yes, but what's the reason behind it?
well that features on this priority list of new laptops for the council. 2 new laptops for council officers, £2,000.
Right.
So that was there because Nicola's got keys missing.
Sorry, Steve, I don't have a copy of that.
No. Oh, you should have. It came out. This one's wrong, but you should have a better one than this.
Yeah, we had one sent me this stuff
Yeah,
for this
there's one.
meeting.
There's one sent out in the minutes pack and the
This is
meetings
the
pack.
one I
Yeah,
got that was sent
that's the
with
one.
minutes.
Yeah,
So is this the right one?
allegedly, yes. It's me who's got the wrong one, but I don't have access to my emails because this is my wife's computer.
Oh,
Yeah, I've got them on my phone, but I can't put them up on the screen because I bought the wrong one. I got this from the website, which is incorrect, obviously. Okay, so that explains what's going on there, Mark.
Yeah.
2 new laptops. The laptops are over 5 years old and struggling.
I know they need replacing. Write them off, don't you?
Yeah. Okay. So I had some more things, quite adventurous things, I guess, because I asked Cloudy IT to provide 3 quotes. Well, actually, I asked them to provide 1 quote, and I got 3 because they're salespeople. So let me throw up the 1 quote I asked for. Well, let me open them all.
Is that on this list here?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that.
No, it's not talking about.
No, it's not on that list there. This is
Just
new.
go through the list, Steve, what the differences are.
Yeah, this is new though, Mark.
Yeah, but
Well, do you want to go?
we don't want to keep adding to it because I can't see everybody agreeing 40-odd% increase.
Why?
Well,
I don't think it's really fair.
that's the discussion we have in. Yeah, you were one of the councillors I was pointing to earlier.
Yeah, no.
That debate needs to happen. That debate needs to happen
Yeah,
in.
it needs to be just. Yeah, we need to justify it. I mean, obviously, at the end of the day, it's got to be fair and reasonable.
However,
Yep.
don't we at this committee need to come up with a recommendation?
We do. This committee
So,
recommends.
Right, so
Yeah, and we're currently at 31 quid,
I still
and Shipley is at 36.
Yeah, but you measure yourself by others,
no,
Steve. Measure yourself what you want.
no.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think Shipley aren't at 36.
Are they not?
They're at 30 because
Okay.
that's what that's
That's what they started at.
the issue
Okay.
at. But I can give you figures that totally justify
Okay.
that we continue to be
Yeah.
totally cheap.
Yeah.
Certainly in comparison to other councils.
I'm with you, John.
Thank you,
I am
and I
with
hope
you,
you'll
John.
vote towards it because we need this increase. And I'll tell you the reason why we need this increase. It's because we've been working on a shoestring from day one, and that is because some of these councillors that get continually berated about the past performance did all the work, and now we're having to employ people. And where councillors did all the work, now we have to employ people and pay people to do it. Okay? That is why it's totally justifiable
Well, it's
to
just a
get.
matter of justifying each line item, John, isn't it? And then coming up with a sensible figure.
Well, yeah, but we've got the
That's what I'm
figures.
saying. Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if it's just justification for it all. And
Well, it is justified.
Yeah.
We need. It's needed.
yeah.
It's needed.
I think
We
I
can't.
think we've done the line items
Yeah.
before the last 2 months, Mark,
Mm-hmm.
looking at the differences. So we're now saying, do we want to cut anything in or put anything else in? I'd like to add something else in, which makes it even worse.
But
But
don't. It's still.
I want to justify it to you guys so that you either say yes, you agree, and we vote on it, or no, you don't.
Yeah, carry on. I agree.
So what I asked Cloudy IT to do was to give me a quote for 16 items, 16 bits of computers. They recommended the Chromebook 11As, so this is a quote for 16 Chromebooks, which is to equip every councillor with a common platform at a cost of 1,900 quid. Right, 16 IT bits.
Yeah.
Right,
1900.
£1,900
That's
for
cheap.
16.
That's
£119 a Chromebook.
what do you mean, Steve? It's what would we actually have then? You mean
get
tablet?
one of them. What Ashraff's got, what Nicola's got, looks very similar to that.
Yeah.
Right.
Right, not one of them. Not
Not one of
One
the
of them.
expensive ones.
Not one of these.
No.
These are 700-800 quid.
Yeah.
No, they're a stripped down, functional,
Yeah.
little storage,
Yeah.
all on the cloud.
that we can get
Everything.
365 on.
Office 365
Right.
and Teams
and Teams.
and Teams, and we can, the
Because
clerks can start using
You
Teams.
see, my argument is that I have this, and Nicola's given us some ideas, and my grandson's given us ideas for me to get a new laptop.
Yeah.
But I think, why?
And
I don't need a laptop. I need a tablet that does everything I want it to do. The only reason I would want a laptop would be for the council. I am an unpaid volunteer.
I get that, and I'm resolving your problem.
Absolutely, and that's why I agree with you.
There is councillors on this council that have not accessed their emails at all.
It's what?
There's councillors on this council that have not accessed their emails at all. So councillors on this council who have not had this on an email. You no need to put your hands up, Councillor Beckwith. I wasn't going to point at you. I was going to say there were councillors on this council who haven't got access to their emails for whatever reason, which meant they hadn't read the business case last night. They hadn't read the tender report.
Exactly.
They hadn't got that. And if you look, they haven't read your railings things. They haven't read your waymarking things.
Right. All right. I want to
So
read that. Right.
there's councillors who need help.
Right.
Basically, they either help or recrimination, one of the two. But I'm in the help mode.
Don't we send them paper copies out?
No.
So 16 Chromebooks. Let's move on. 16 Chromebooks, £1,900. 16 Chromebooks shipped to Basingstoke or Milton Keynes, Buckinghamshire, where Cloudy RT is for them to set it up. Right. £450, £675 for them to set up and then ship here. So these come back to us for the one-off total of 2,974. Forget the taxes. So for £26 under £3,000, we get 16 laptops and all the councillors on, and the clerks can steam forward with Office 365, Teams, Windows, interactive.
You see, I represent the council on the liaison committee. I tried to access it again. I couldn't do it. So I just can't. I can't do that.
Well, I've been talking to the clerks.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to get rid of that. Sorry. He's wondering why I called him earlier. So, do we think £3,000 to enable the clerks to go full McCoy
Absolutely.
with e-agendas, e-minutes? So if the agenda changes, drop it into Office 365, you'll get it. Yeah.
Can I propose that?
I'm proposing.
That it's
I've told you before. I'm proposing it. The guy who speaks proposes it. You want to second it?
I'll second it.
Good lad. Right. I think we haven't had a debate on it because I can see Councillor Gibbons wants to say something.
I would think a member of the public who was here earlier would be appalled that we're spending £3,000 on ourselves rather than.
I agree with you.
I agree that there would be appalled, but I find it.
Now wait a minute before you say something.
I aren't going to say anything that I regret.
But as we get, you might say something that others regret. That's not problem. The issue there is by the time we get there, CP toilet would be stood next door. And the CP toilet delivers a whole lot of winning ways. We can all, as I said, we can all be proud. It's done. It removes a problem.
I still think there are a lot of people out
Well, there is a problem. If you look at
will see this as a negative. I'm being devil's advocate.
Can I
agree with Philip.
I would be devil.
Yes, can I?
You can, John.
Right, okay. Well, I listened to Maureen last night, and it concerned me greatly because all we're getting is adverse comments, i.e. about the cost of the building.
Mm-hmm.
It's how many people have complained, how many, and what form have they complained, because it goes on social media and somebody says that big figure and they don't know any of the background, so everything's totally out of context.
I agree.
And so what happens is they all put their hands up and say, 160 odd thousand. But the thing about it, Lord, my thread now.
Can I just help you out here, John?
Yeah, do.
By saying one of the reasons that I sponsored the OWL
Yeah.
was to bring the public into the meetings.
Yeah.
I was very conscious that we were acting like a star chamber.
Yeah.
And no one was seeing, and there was a lot of bad press.
Yeah.
The change in place is a negative point from my point of view. People can watch that and kick off on social media, so that's the downside of having the owl. But the upside of it, they can see rational people talking about rational things.
Okay.
I'm talking about an extra 3,000 here, which may not survive the budget cut in January. I'll be honest, it may not. But on the social media, they'll be focusing on the £100,000 staff costs.
Yeah.
Trust me, not this 3,000.
Exactly.
And that's what we need to be
what else
aware of.
what else I'm going to say is that that figure is the people that's complained about that figure. What sort of number is that? What about the silent majority? We've got 18,000 people out there voting, and it's a tiny thing, and yet we spent so much time worrying about the reputation of the council. In my view, and it was true what I said. I've asked people, what do you think about what we've so and so what we've done? Yes, we've improved Bingley since we started, and I honestly, because I believe that the majority of people are happy with it, that's why I'm perfectly happy to go and increase the precept, and also to say that I'm proud of everything we've done.
Thank you, John. Does anyone else want to say anything before we agree or disagree to add this to the...
All I would say, I just think we need to take it steady away. You can add things later on, can't you? You can have a wish list of what you
No,
want.
it's better to ski backwards.
You better,
It's better to ski backwards and say that precept too high, what we're taking out. Let's take out SIDS. You might agree, you might not because you're sponsoring it, but the meeting in January might agree that 10,500 for SIDS in road safety is a better hit, and this is a better option. So I'd rather have it all in there with the kitchen sink. I'd rather have it all in there with the kitchen sink, and then we can ski downhill. So you can say, well, okay, and I'll add that to the project list that you've got in front of you.
Common sense will prevail. That's what I'll say.
Well, the project list that you're looking at, which I've got the wrong version of, I'll add that,
Yeah.
and to say 16 Chromebooks and setup to it at 3,000 quid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
There was another quote, because I was speaking to salespeople, they couldn't help it. So they gave me another quote, which is this one. So let's get rid of that one. So this is a suite of apps designed by councils for the council sector. So this is for a one-off cost, again suspiciously of £3,000, 2,995 for a suite of apps. Now, admittedly, we don't have a lot of these apps. So if you run down it, park inspection app, we don't have a park to inspect. So this is an app that's on a phone or on your Chromebook, which the park inspector, i.e. Ruth or John, going together, would go to that park and go, yeah, that swing's broken or that's broken, and stick it off and assign a maintenance job to it and get a ticket number, and it will track and it will say who's that, and it will feed back, and it's an all singing, all dancing app. There's an inspection app, but I don't know what they're inspecting. There's a green space app for parks.
Before you go through it all, can I just say, I think as Mark was saying, walking before we run. If we want to do that, I don't think we're looking at next year. We may be looking at the year after.
Well, by that time, I might know what an app is.
It's an app on the phone for your thing. So the only things I said to Claudia IT was, I'll put it in front of the committee. What they're saying is they will design apps for us, so we could have a grip bin app, for example. But that's a very expensive £3,000 to get a grip bin.
£3,000 to move away from a spreadsheet.
That was my feeling of it. If we had parks and swimming pools, and we were a council that had buildings and responsibility other than one allotment and 20 grip bins, I would have said yes. So are we okay that?
Just don't see the need for that at all.
The last one was an interesting one, and I believe that Eve is in favour of this one. This is a product called Decisions, agenda management from a company called Decisions. Agenda management. It is what it says. It's an app, John.
Yeah.
It goes on Office 365. It's fully integrated with Teams and allows the clerk to build an agenda and throw it in and manage the meeting from within this decisions app. So whereas Nicola would be sitting there, she would be on this application in real time, managing the votes, the decisions, the people that got the action points, and then at the end of the night she'd hit the button that says build agenda and build minutes, and the minutes would go and it would assign everything and bung it all out to the Office 365 Chromebooks.
Right.
So you'd get home and you'd find your minutes were already on there, and the action point that you agreed to do would be there, and a tracking project management on it. So that was.
Well, we still get emails in this.
Yeah. This just So
I can read them.
That was £160 a month, or one-time items of that. So
It's not an or, is it? It's an and.
Yeah, it's a £7.45 to set it up,
Yeah.
and £160 a month. So if you multiply that out, again, that comes quite. My argument against that was that we were sold Office 365 and Teams by Tracy
Yeah.
as to be the answer.
Yeah.
The clerks and us, well, some of us have done the Cloudy IT training for Office 365.
Well, I would have done, but I couldn't get on.
Yeah, but with a Chromebook, you'd have to do it basically.
No, I want to do it. I want to do it.
The clerk
Yeah.
would move down.
I want to build. I can't get onto training meetings and stuff like
There
that.
are YouTubes on this subject around. If you go onto Cloudy IT's YouTube account and find Decisions Agenda Management, there is a 20-minute video on YouTube for that app, and you can sit there at home and watch what it does and decide whether you want to come back in January at the F&GP and say, actually, that was quite good. And I've encouraged Eve. It's a pity Eve's not here tonight, because I've sent it to her and said I've encouraged her to watch it, but I don't know whether she has. So at this point in time, should we not put that one on?
No.
So, are we okay though with the £3,000 in
Yeah.
IT equipment?
We voted on it.
Well, I proposed it. You seconded
Did we
it.
vote on it?
Did everyone have their input on it?
Oh, that was it. You were going to have
Yeah.
input.
The only thing, Steve, I've got onto it, because obviously I've got a project in terms of the SIDS and that lot. In terms of priorities, where are you going to put that? You know what I mean? So if it's gonna,
It's a good question.
you know what I mean?
Any
Obviously,
thoughts on
I
that?
wouldn't,
Yeah.
Certainly below SIDS.
If it's under SIDS, yeah.
I would say it's a number 6. It's
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And I would also say, if the council is worried about big ticket items, this £3,000 might not be enough. So SIDS might well sneak in. And if SIDS go, then you might want to say, well, okay, we'll put that in because it's only seven. We save 7,000. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's going to be a debate.
Okay.
I find this really frustrating.
It is.
I'm
It is.
really frustrated.
So let's say all in
We're
favour
talking
of
about
adding this.
pence here. We're talking about pence, and it's every year this
So,
is.
are we all in
We've-
favour of
we've-
adding that to this figure here, which is now 2.7? That'll now be 5.7, and we'll see what it does at the bottom. Okay. Any more for any more? I don't have any more. No. Anyone else got any more to add to that? Shall we scroll down and see?
We need to vote on it, don't we, Steve?
I'm going to say we voted on that, sorry.
Oh, well, I thought I read the room. All in favour or not? Of adding the £3,000 to the IT
Well,
budget.
we can pull it out later.
Yeah.
Right,
We
that's
can
all
have the
in favour.
debate at full council.
Yeah, that's it. So have you got that, Nicola? We've added 16 Chromebooks into the IT equipment budget.
Very good.
So strolling down to the bottom then, so we now have a preset rise of 47.99%, which is quite high, and a preset per band.
It's not about the. You see, this is where we always fall down.
I get
we're talking percentages. Let's talk about money.
It's a £10 per band.
Absolutely.
A £5 a couple
Yes.
each.
We're still going to be 20% below the average of anywhere you look at any average of other councils. We are still going to be cheap, the cheapest, or one of the cheapest.
If those councillors who were here last year, and I think Maureen and Philippa weren't, I was arguing strongly.
Yes, you were.
And Robert wasn't here last year. I was arguing strongly to hit the budget hard with £100,000 for CP toilets, fund it in 1 year, and get it done.
Yes.
Which would be 2 pints of beer. I was saying
Yes,
per person,
absolutely.
it was 2 pints of beer. And
We're
they'll say,
talking
who's
ten,
going to...
we're talking
Yeah.
10 pence a day. We're talking 10 pence a day. That's what
Yeah.
we're talking.
Yeah,
10 pence a day
yeah, I agree.
on
That's-
D band.
If I just make an observation, I understand where you're coming from, and in relative terms, it doesn't seem a lot.
It isn't a lot.
But no, John, just listen to what you've got to say. You've had your view.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is that we have to consider not just our own selves personal. There's a lot of issues that people haven't got any money,
Yeah,
and you know we've got to be considerate of other people. We're not all the same affluent as what probably we are, and so therefore we need to just be mindful. And when people talk about increases, you know, it does sound a lot,
yeah.
and we should never measure ourselves by other people. You measure by what you want yourself. If you're always measuring by other people, you go nowhere in life. And so I just think we should be mindful of what we're actually looking for. And, you know, yeah, we have to look at an increase, but we just need to say, is it sensible?
Certainly there was a councillor last night who whispered in my ear as he went home that we need to make cuts elsewhere to keep this precept at £22, and it ain't going to happen, John. It can't happen because we
That
can't.
is ridiculous.
We'll be,
Well, you've got to just look
No,
at
it's
the
not,
line
no,
we'll be
it's
targeting staff
No,
costs if we do
yeah.
that, John, because that's the big ticket item in here. So
It is ridiculous.
anyway,
It is.
so are we agreed that now is the budget that we're going to discuss again at the next F&GP? Because there isn't a full council, but there is another F&GP.
Of this list of priority projects, are they all in there?
Can someone show it to me? His railings in there.
no, yeah,
No, it's not.
Oh, no,
Well, obviously
no.
isn't from the budget figure on here.
that ain't included.
When you say it's not in here for the budget figure,
Riverside Walk railings, C8000, I think.
It's not included. It's not included in the list.
there's
because
there's £12,000.
Under 4460.
There's £12,000 under 4460 for regeneration and tourism.
Yeah, there's 12,000 in there, which is
Yeah.
8,000 on the
But you would
Riverside
take
Walk railings.
8,000 out of it.
No.
Yes.
No.
Railings.
Railings, yeah.
No, I thought you
Just
said
leave
yes.
it as it is. If you remember last night, I've sort of withdrew that.
Yeah, no, but this is next year's budget.
I know, but there isn't any. You've put 8,000 lower down, right?
Where?
On this, it's on that list, on that priorities list, lower down.
On that
isn't it?
priority list.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's got to
But
be
if
in
you
that
ta-
12,000.
Yeah.
And so you're happy that it's in.
Well, I say I've just I mean that ought to be increased to back to 19,700, but I'm not asking for that.
No, I'm talking about next year, John. You're misunderstanding me.
I'm not misunderstanding. It was set. The proposed budget was 19,000. I think it was 19,700, and we reduced it to
Yes.
12,000.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So
do you think there are enough projects to generate 20,000 quid's worth of spend when this year we only spent?
no, I said
whatever.
I've written that off, that 8,000 that you've got on there.
Anyone else understanding it? Sorry, John, for being
Is this-
disparaging like that.
You said earlier you thought you could use the SIL money.
Yeah,
Are
yeah,
you,
that's
are
where
you
I've gone from.
assuming that you're going to?
You see where I'm
Thank you.
coming from.
Now, thank you, John. Right.
After the budget that's why when it came up to that item, I said I'll withdraw it. I'll withdraw it and we'll discuss it.
Can I
later.
give you a little bit of illumination as well?
Yeah.
Your 8,000 is part of a bigger project from Bradford's point of view. isn't it?
Absolutely.
Right, so theirs is probably 50, 60,000.
It could be.
Right, and the reason Belinda isn't answering you is they're out to consultation on their budget.
Right.
Right, and if she answers you, she predetermines that bit of budget,
Right.
which is not prescribed by
Right,
the gunning
yeah.
principles
Yeah.
we were talking about last
Right,
time, and
yeah.
that's why they're all quiet in Bradford.
The thing is
They
that
can't answer.
the thing is with the adverse comments made about the painting of the lampposts, this is going to be seen as that, and it's not. If you read the initial initial suggestion, it could be a really nice thing, and it really needs regenerating.
I'm just illuminating why.
Yeah,
Belinda's
yeah,
not
no,
coming
that's
back
good,
to you,
that's worth
because
knowing,
they're
'cause
in she can't answer.
No, I
they'll
understand.
be under lockdown.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But she could have had the courtesy of replying and saying
I
that,
can't
couldn't
answer.
she?
She could have done. She's probably scared.
But are we saying then that regeneration and tourism needs to come down to 4,000, and the SIL at the bottom where I noticed
No,
this
because
isn't
John
on?
is saying it was 19,700. So we've already targeted that. So that regeneration of tourism leaves some money for other councillors to come up with something. There aren't at the moment, Philippa. And
Well, I thought
neighbourhood
that
plan.
8 was in that.
Neighbourhood plan.
Well, that'll be granted.
Again, that's a conversation we can have in January, isn't it?
But do we need? We've got Sill on the bottom, but we haven't got this first one in the reserves. We've got Sill for 18-19 with a load of.
There's a problem there.
A load of money in it.
No, there's a problem there.
Okay.
And the problem is that the £9,429.75 that we gave to Friends
Myrtle
of
Park.
Myrtle Park in February doesn't appear in a budget. And I spotted it and flagged it to Nicola, and Nicola are going to cluster around Rialtus and find out where it went, because we know it got paid.
It went to grants.
It went into grants.
Yeah.
So
Oh, right.
we agreed in February, if you look at the February minutes of 2021, we agreed that we would via money from SIL. So my view was that if you're taking £9,429.75 from SIL, you'd target that 16,000, because that would be the obvious source to take it from. And yet that figure's the same as it was last year, which I said why. Because if we're spending SIL, but there's an issue there, and I think it will resolve before January the 18th, which that figure, that SIL money, what we need to do is to via, but that makes, if it went to grants, it can't have gone to grants, because grants, as you saw, if we go back to,
We spent nothing on.
grants was 6,033.
Yeah.
So it didn't go, that's for this year.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's for this
That's
year.
not in the budget.
Yeah, no, last year. Well, this is budget, so we don't have those greylings are budget lines,
Yeah, it's
not
not in the
actually.
budget, it's not the
So it's
actual
not. It's not on
spending
this.
years.
So it went to grants.
Yeah, it was paid
So
to
it
grants.
should have gone to precept. So sorry, SIL. So whether it's too late now, given the fact that the AGAR's been released and the auditor didn't spot it, and all that's been signed off, that's the conversation that the clerk needs to have with me and Nicola as to what we do about that, because the other clerk did not via it as per the minutes in February. So, so the reserves should sort themselves out. The good thing about the SIL reserves is that we don't top them up. Developers top them up.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we do need to top up the election reserves.
Yeah.
So there should be some money in here for elections, which there is projected 10,000. So that will come out of the election reserve of 17,000.
17,000, wasn't it?
So we need to make a decision, do we not, whether we're going to top that up again?
Well,
It will be running forward at 7,000.
Yeah, if you're talking,
Talking £6,000 an election.
absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
We've got to.
have to,
We
yeah.
seem to run at 2 a year.
So I,
Average 2 a year.
I always
I,
ask for a donation from a certain councillor.
so I think in that box there, that which is the this next year's budget, we need to put 10,000, maybe 11,000 to bring it up. Or I'm prepared to compromise and say 10,000.
Yeah.
Does that make sense, Edward? Is anyone going to?
Is that for elections, Steve?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if we know they've charged us 11,000 for
Yeah,
2,
sure.
Well,
why-
yeah, but we don't know that £17,801 was an appropriate reserve. So I'm saying we'll drop it down to 16,000 by adding 10,000 and not 11.
Okay, yeah,
So you want
that makes
16,000 writing in the budget?
Or do we want it 18,000 because that's 3 elections at £6,000? So we want to make. Do we want to make it 11,000? Go the other. No, 12,000 and go the other way to make the reserve 18,000, which is 3 elections. What reserve do we want to carry for elections, people, councillors? Any view?
Well, you definitely want 2, don't you? Definitely
What
want
is the
2.
run rate? I mean, I know I've said 2.
Depends how penal the full council meetings get in January. I find a few others resigning. I know.
Well, because the thing is, if someone goes, we need. We've got to have
10
it.
grand.
We've got
The
to find them.
elections in May 2023
Did Bradford pay for them?
I'm
Yeah.
assuming Bradford.
Yeah, if they're with a current council,
proper election, right, okay.
they're included.
I think we should leave it at 10. I think, Steve.
So-
And that's what.
Yeah, leave
So
it 10 grand.
when you say 10,
Yeah.
10 added in that figure there.
Yeah.
10 more.
10 is,
Right.
that'd be okay.
Yeah, so as it
Average
was then,
two-
16
Two
then.
elections, yeah.
Yeah, that will bring the precept down because 11,000 will go out, and 10,000 will go back, so that will bring it down to 16,000.
Yeah, that's
Right.
So, sorry, can I just clarify, you want £10,000 put in the reserves for elections for 21, 22?
Yes, exactly so. And I've just added to this precept.
22, 23.
22,
22,
23.
23.
yeah, not this year, next year.
22, 23?
22, 23. Yeah, not this year,
Forgive
next
my
year.
ears, I don't know what year
Yeah.
I'm on.
Next year. Yeah. From next year's precept.
Mhm.
So that yields a cost increase on the precept of £11 per band, which, as John says, is now 10.02 pence per week. Okay, are we happy to recommend that, or I'm conscious of the time running along. And big long council meeting last night. Personally, I was quite tired this morning. Okay, so shall we say that's it and draw a line under it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is
So
there a
Do
vote
you,
on
do you
that?
need,
Yeah,
do you need to vote on that?
Yeah, I'm proposing that we recommend this, but I'm proposing that we sleep on this until the next F&GP. We have another month.
F&GP.
There's no other council. There's not recommending this to full council.
No.
We're recommending this that we give it
Right.
back to the clerk.
Right, okay.
So that's the proposal. We
Right.
resubmit this back to the clerk as the recommendation from the
Yeah.
December F&GP.
Right, okay.
Okay, so
Second.
proposed, seconded, all in favour. Okay, thank you very much. Right, let's go there and let's go back to the agenda. Emergency Support Subcommittee 21-22-101. Well, the bad news on that is it didn't meet because of sickness and abstentions, or apologies for absence. I don't know who the sicknesses were. I just got an email saying it was deferred.
It
We'll
was
meet again.
Ellen
It
was
was
sick.
Alan.
Helen, was it?
Ellen's sick, that's why she isn't here.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought it might be Chris Slaven, and he's
On the
deputy.
email,
Yeah, it doesn't matter,
Helen.
Howard. It just doesn't matter. The good news is I came down and counted all the stock in there the other day, and I have an audited.
Did you manage to get door shut?
Well, that's right. I did manage to get the door shut. Yeah. So that's that. So I don't have an update other than the fact I've counted that, and the batteries still work. And there's some batteries in there that are, torches in there that are empty, etc., etc. So moving swiftly on because I don't have any update and recommendations.
Oops.
So Green and Cleaner Funds 102, John, received an update to agree any actions from
No,
you?
I don't think there's nothing
Nothing to report.
on that
Okay.
at the moment.
21-22-103 markets update. Well, we had that last
Right,
night.
yeah,
So
right,
yeah.
I'm not so sure what's going on this.
Well, we'll just
Well,
Oh,
it's
just
just the
noted.
way the meetings have
Yeah.
fallen this month,
Yeah.
isn't
Right,
it?
okay. 21-22-104, another big subject because I'm aware the Cottingley 3 have met and have some recommendations to talk to us. So who's leading on that for you three guys?
no idea.
Ulysses.
Didn't you meet?
No, we just had a meeting.
we just
We
had a
just had-
brief-
we just
We've
thrown
had a
a
quick meeting and we're looking at various options. One is possibly a newsletter,
Okay.
Business
possibly some
not a newsletter, like a
business.
like a business. Yeah,
Business directory.
The directory.
that's the word I was
directory.
looking for.
Business directory, yeah.
Some sort of thing.
Okay.
It's to promote business basically, and it's sort of been thrust upon us.
Okay.
We have some other ideas, but I think we're planning to scope.
So
These unpaid volunteers are going to try and scope it out,
okay. So
to take pressure off paid staff.
can I ask if you got any information available when you had that chat to when that grant needs to be spent by, or the proposition needs to be in by?
it was originally the end of March, but it has been moved.
It's
I think
been extended, and Nicola's actually.
Extended.
Eve's actually sent us an email telling us when. No, a clarification came from Bradford Council that changed it. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
do it by sign it.
So
Right.
we the council and you the Cottingley
Yeah, 'cause it's
councillors
just for
do
Bingley
not
Road.
need to go back to Bradford in any timescale soon.
Don't think
Interestingly, on the minutes, the agenda, there's a form that it looks as though we have to fill in with our names on it.
Sign him.
Yeah, there's one, I got it all
So
printed out
we'll
here.
take that with Eve. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not. Yeah.
So, you know,
So
there's no-
at the moment, as regard this committee,
we need to agree in the actions, that's what it's saying. So do
Right.
you have a proposal to
well,
make?
the actions is that the three
Three wise men.
Cottingley Ward councillors will make some inquiries and report back at the next F&GP meeting. How's that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So proposed by Councillor Good.
Yeah.
So seconded by
You could have
Councillor.
councilled it. You could have
Oh
proposed
no,
if
it's,
you wanted.
I'm not crossing you through.
Yeah.
Yeah, all in favour? Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have to do a bit of work on it.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got 28 page document.
Right. Gritting. Right, gritting. We have to consider the purchase of the proposed new grit bin locations for this year. £100 per bin. They will need to be refilled. Further information to follow, which did come out.
Can I ask one question?
Yes.
What budget have we got for this?
And,
I didn't
and
touch the grit.
especially after last night,
I didn't hit.
can we spend anything? Do we need to agree that we can spend something?
We can make a recommendation. Yeah, it's a difficult one that because it is discretionary spend.
What's it?
I personally wouldn't make a song and dance about it. I was more concerned with railings rather than railings and SIDS rather than grit bins at £100, and I certainly wasn't bothered about water coolers. So it was the big beer, knowing that I was.
It may well have been the big beer, but that's not the resolution we
No,
passed.
okay. Yeah, I get the pedantry. And I value it.
You do.
No, I value it. I do. So in terms of grit bins then, running down this list here, it will be into...
But I have another question as well before we start, because I think in the email that came round to us all, there was a suggestion that no one else uses Bradford to score these things, and they just decide for themselves where the bins.
When you say no one else, do you mean other parish councils?
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
So,
Wasn't that bonus for us?
well, I don't
We
know,
do it.
because if they say no and we want one,
Yeah, interesting comment that.
No.
The process person in me says that if we don't have a Bradford process, we ought to have a Bingley process.
Sorry,
it
Chair, I
might-
don't quite understand what Philip is saying. Can
Philip
you-
is saying
Well,
other parish
the
councils
score on it, you see.
don't approach Bradford. If they want a bin, they put it in and pay for it.
Well, that's what we
Right.
do, though.
That's what we do
Well,
anyway.
what we do is to seek a scoring first, and if it gets over 125 points, Bradford
yeah.
will put it in. But at the moment, they have no budget, so they're not. But under
see.
normal circumstances, they would.
Yeah, right.
There's
But they
been a
don't.
list out. Have you not
I
got the
thought we
list?
paid a lot. I thought we bought a load of bins.
We do.
We do.
We buy them.
We buy 5.
But what? Can I speak?
You can.
So what's happened in the past? Sarah Hardman started this off really,
Yeah, yeah.
and she we prioritised them. But then when we voted who was going to have the bins, it was based on the scoring of Bradford Council. Have you not seen the scoring
All
sheets?
right, yes.
I may have done, John. I can't
Yeah,
remember.
Yeah.
because
They don't stick in
the scoring for all the bins that's Bradford Council's done this time,
Right.
and they want to recommend it. They recommended 125 points, and there's a lot of them's a lot below. There's
Yeah, I'm just making
there's
sure
one
it's not big.
there's one in my ward that's 120, but it's recommended, and I've looked at the site, and it's a suitable site. So,
So there's one. I'm not going to talk through it, Mark, because I say Bradford wanted to keep it confidential. But they look at certain characteristics of the site, and a person goes round, and
Mr.
a
Ibbotson.
Bradford officer goes round and assesses the site against these
Gotcha.
characteristics and assigns it a score. And if you drop down to the bottom, right, and it needs to be over 125 to pass, this particular site got 75, so they won't put a bin in.
that's because it'd be 125, but they've knocked 50 off because it's on a priority route.
Right.
That's on your road, isn't it, John? That?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So what they're saying is,
I
you don't
I
grit
didn't,
when there's a
um,
grit bin, a grit lorry going around. Why bother? So they take 50 points off it because of that.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
It would
So-
somebody else that asked me
There is
to put it on.
But we have purchased some bins ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got about 20.
Yeah.
So this
We
is
have to refill them at £50 a piece.
Aye.
so this is Ruth's input document, the PDF.
Yes, it's on the it's on
Yeah.
the bottom of this that they don't do it an
Yeah.
assessment service for other parish or town council.
Good on. Keep using them while we can, unless they start charging us.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess that's a question for later.
What's that on about that? Yeah.
Whether or not we're going to go rogue.
Do have a little
I guess that's a full council. We can make an.
I have an update on that from Ruth.
Right.
How you doing?
Sorry, one of the things she did tell me today was that we've got, with that list that she gave us, there were one that was downgraded and there was one person that actually said they would buy the grip bin themselves, providing.
Because it were on a unadopted road, wasn't it?
And yeah, but the Bradford Council will not put grip bins on unadopted roads, but the question was asked, can we do that?
But it said that they would fill it.
Yeah.
Right. So the summary there is one on Keithley Road, which I guess is in Maureen's neck of the woods. That you requested. You have one at the opposite end of Cross Flats.
Yeah, to be honest, I wasn't very clear.
No.
Well, if it's put it's just because they're all at one end.
Yeah.
I looked at your list and I was quite surprised. I would have thought something by Tesco's or the primary school would be
Absolutely.
where you'd want something, because it is a bit of a hill and this, that and the other.
There's none there, and there's none round the Crescent and the Drive. A lot of older people live, and it is
But
steep, and
But they've put that back on that. But that's now
That's back on priority two.
priority two. You see,
so that's fine. That's I'm happy with that.
that's why my road.
So the main road by the primary school and Tesco's is the property. But what about the side roads you were talking about?
Well, I said the ones that Maureen's talking about, the Crescent and that's on the new. That's been
Priority two.
put onto this
Okay.
priority two. That's why that one. There's one at Gilwood Drive, and I would ask to look at it because that is a steep road. But that's on a priority one, I think. It's a priority two, I think. But when I went just after the snow this time, I went to look at the bin and talked to the resident outside the house where the resident was, and I recommended something for lower down. But it had been done. They'd gritted it. So it's a cul-de-sac, but they still gritted it. So
I think I'll agree with you. There are lots of roads, particularly in Cronus and Priestford, where they're quiet roads but very steep hills. And I wonder if you could leave it to the ward council to come up with some ideas and talk and get some.
Well, it's about how much we've got and what priorities are at the moment.
Yeah. Well, there's two answers to that. This is the third time round for this, and if you had the email, you'd have seen it. So you would have responded. Esseltine's been chasing it, Ruth's been chasing it, and the boat sailed. Whether or not we got the budget for it, from Philippa's point of view, and quite correctly said that we voted yesterday to shut down all discretionary spend. Which is interesting, but I think I'd just say that maybe the council can suspend the standing orders on that for grip bins because of a road safety, public health point of view.
What we might argue, it's not a new project. It's an
Well,
ongoing.
it's an ongoing. That's true. Yeah,
It's a work in progress already started.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
So-
see, I know I like it.
So what are we suggest? What was it?
Well, we've got
we need-
Gilwood Drive is awaiting feedback that would score in excess of 125.
It would, but now that's what the one that Nicola's just talking about. That has been upgraded to a higher priority on the gritting
road
route.
sector.
So is that right, Nicola?
Sorry, say that again.
Gilwood Drive.
Yeah.
That's the one, isn't it? That's been scored down
Yes, it is Gilwood Drive, downgraded to 110.
down to 110.
Okay. Pendle, that was missed last year, quite high, 135.
They'll be right then.
Yeah, quite high.
Well, that should be included if we can afford it.
Healy Avenue, 125.
Where's that? Where is it on Ely Avenue?
There used to be a bin round here, and no longer having one makes winter more challenging. I don't know where.
Ely Avenue's down towards Modern School, that
Well,
way.
it's Bingley Central, Myrtle Park.
Pardon?
It's
Yeah,
Bingley
it's that
Central,
area.
yeah.
Yeah.
Where's Penrith Road?
Sounds
Pendle
like
is at the top of off of Gilstead Lane on the top as you come up Brucethorpe and
yeah.
go up on the heights up Tullia Court and all around there.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And junction of Gawthorpe Lane and Beck Lane. Now that's an interesting one. That's right opposite the Five Wise Hotel, where the yellow houses are, the yellow cottages opposite.
Yeah.
Well, they're saying that junction there is horrendous. I've looked at it. There's certainly space to put one, and I was waiting for someone to score it, and someone indeed has.
And what's the score for that?
125.
Well, that's yeah.
So do you have any update on Pendle, Healy or Gawthorpe Lane and Beck Lane, or are they as scored?
Yeah.
And Primrose Drive, Primrose Lane Junction, another one, January 21.
Is the colour coded on this? And does it mean anything, or is it just?
I think the Greens, that they missed the deadline and it scores quite high, and the pale orange here was that it was decided not to purchase a bin, so it's a second time round. But I don't know who's deciding. I guess it's us. Manor Drive 120, Dub Lane, Lund Street, all quite low. So I guess we have a decision to make.
It does say for the 120. I have vested interest in this one. That it does recommend if it can be put in a certain position. I would recommend it going on Manor Drive to service Woodlands Grove, which is steep. But he's pointed out that, and I've been to look at it, and there is access where it's said, and I've asked the resident opposite if they were happy for it to be able to look out on it, and they are. So that's up to you. It's scored at 120.
Well, up to me, it's up to us.
Yeah. No, I'm saying, I'm just pointing out to you
Democracy,
the recommended.
So which junction is it, John? Is it the far end or the near end?
No, there's that's the whole point. There's a grip bin at the far end.
Yeah.
And it's that's always been there, but this is the other end, because they always have trouble because it goes up and then turns, and they can't get up. But it's on a well, they've scored it down because it's on a gritting grit.
So we have 5.
It says as you drive up Woodlands Grove, there is an area of land on the right hand
That's
side.
it. Well, it's
the
a
bin
piece.
could be placed there.
Yeah, well, there's
I would recommend the bin.
Yeah.
He scored it under and then recommended a bin, which is a bit.
Well, because it's near, isn't it? It's 120 against 125.
There were 5 then on that list, which collectively we've said we should do it. So the question is £500. Do we know what budget line grip bins ascribe themselves to, Nicola, please?
Yes. Current year. And we also need an allowance for filling them up, don't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, bear with me. I think it comes out of the green and clean budget.
We've got green and clean.
John, can you?
Not sure, Nicola. It probably, not sure.
Well, that's running at 3798.
It's got lots of
and it's
headroom.
Well, it's projected at 16,000. Is that because we've stolen it for the previous conversation on CP toilets?
I don't believe so. No, we haven't stolen
Yeah, I'm
anything.
sorry, I don't know exactly which code of the budget.
Well, that's worrying, isn't it? It's currently trolling along at under 4, and yet someone says there's another £12,000 going to hit it. Any thoughts on that, Nicola? The green and clean is currently trolling along at 3798.
Yeah.
but we're projecting a year-end total of £16,000.
I don't understand that, because I keep asking this question because we've paid out for plants and stuff like that. It's to do with this Rialtas, isn't it?
It's plants on that, 11,000 quid worth of plants. Oh no, that's,
No.
I know we haven't
Contract,
got
you know,
the
the
invoice
contract
yes, I know.
that we've had,
So-
that's been serviced for last year.
Yeah, no, I get that. So we haven't had the bill in yet, so
Yes,
that-
we have, we've paid it, I've paid £4,000 something at one stage.
we had the Bradford bill in. For the
Sorry, is
water.
this, which budget is this line on?
Green and
We're
clean.
talking 4480.
4480. No, just bear with me 2 seconds, please.
It's always been lower. It's projected to.
Yeah, you see there's 16 grand.
So 4480, yeah, that is the plants, and so far we've only paid out 4727. We haven't had the bills in for the rest, as it stands at the moment.
So is it likely that
I
the
don't understand
watering
that at all.
contract will come in after year end, i.e. next year's budget?
Oh, well, it is in next year's budget.
It is in next
Yeah,
year's
yeah,
budget. So
absolutely.
this £12,000 that's coming in here is a bit of a misnomer at the moment.
I'm not happy with it at all.
No.
No.
Well, I think therefore we ought to
Because we've had
recommend
two,
500 quid.
we've had two lots of,
So what's the plan?
must be in this.
Can I make a proposal then to move this on that we recommend to the full council, and I don't know how we do that until we meet at again the green and clean. That budget is delegated to the F&GP.
Yeah.
So to me, again, it's another conversation I'm having with Eve. Is what does that actually mean? Does it mean that we can spend up to £16,000? And it does mean, and her response was, it depends what the financial regs say in terms of the authority for this committee.
Right.
But we are delegated down
Yeah.
on that thing, so I'm suggesting that we spend £500 on those 5 grip bins. That's Pendle, Healy, Gawthorpe Lane, Primrose Drive, and Manor Drive.
Right.
Okay,
So can you just say those again, Steve?
I can. Pendle Road,
Yeah.
Healy Avenue,
Yeah.
Gawthorpe Lane, Primrose Drive, and Manor Drive.
I'll second that.
And the actual definitions are on the list, you know, in terms of the junctions, etc. So they're just the headline figures. Seconded by Councillor Clough. So all in favour of putting £500 on that budget?
Robert.
Okay. Right,
Because
thank you.
what happens there is or what has happened is that Brian Dobson rings me up and says, "Can you meet Gritting Man and go decide where you're going to put bins?" Basically,
Yeah.
so we'll need to go have a look and find out
Okay.
where Bradford's recommending. I don't know where, or the councillors who's recommended these things, where they're going.
So the moving on then to 21-22-106, a policy review to review the seal policy. In looking at the seal policy, I spotted a couple of grammatical errors. Is all.
Yeah.
There weren't horrendous problems with it. Otherwise, we would have raised it last night.
What is the seal policy?
Yeah.
What is the seal? CIL?
Yeah.
Community infrastructure levy. It's what you get from when a builder's built. We get 15% of what goes to Bradford Council from the
What
builder.
was 106?
Okay, well, I would
Well,
have
it
known
kind
that. Thank you.
Community infrastructure levy.
Yeah.
Uh,
It used to be 106. They've changed it.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's not coming up there in terms of. Let's throw that up there.
There's a couple of minor things.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's, for example, there's who to get in touch with. That needs changing.
Yeah.
Name at Clark.
Yeah, I found that.
What else did I see?
Ah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm throwing it up now as on the policy. This is the one on the interweb. This is the current one coming up. So I must confess, putting it on the agenda, but I have to hold my hand up and say that I've been so focused on other topics this week. Obviously, I haven't put my mind to what was wrong with it. So essentially, this was saying that it was a policy on our website which said that people need to apply, but there was no way of applying in this policy. That was the. So yes, the name's Ruth Batterley. That was one.
Yeah.
A bit further up, it references a referendum from the neighbourhood plan in 2020, which is obviously.
Okay. So can I suggest that because of the budget we talked about, and because I'm a little bit of an idiot, that I actually come back in the January meeting with a marked up copy of the SIL with the paragraph
figures in.
in true what you were saying the other night, because I did spot it at home that there is issues, and it talks about award allocation, and there was a problem with semantics about how they got here and what we were doing about it.
Is there a top amount that people can apply for?
No.
Awards under this would normally be above the 2,000. So the last one we awarded was 9,400.
It's decided. It's
So
designed.
we could apply for everything we've got for Bingley.
Yeah,
It weren't that actually. I was thinking about it. It was somebody else who'd asked me,
Yeah.
but I just didn't know what the upper limit was.
well, there isn't one, but
And a point you did pull me up on last night, Steve, when I said it has Bradford Council have to agree. It actually says it at the last thing on the document. It says it has to go to Bradford. You have to tell Bradford Council.
well, that's then wrong, and I would challenge that because the SIL policy on the government website doesn't say anything about it.
It's on that document.
Good to know, John.
So it's the last line.
The last line.
Before it goes on about how you, that it's going to be part of the grants policy.
There, that one there. A report on SIL spending will be submitted to budget.
Yeah.
No.
No. I don't think it's that. It was just one line. What's that say there? But
Requests for funding need to be approved by Bradford Council.
That's it.
I don't think they do. I'm
Well,
convinced they don't.
that's why I said what I said last night. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I will be happy to challenge that, and I'll challenge that through Eve into Bradford, because there's nothing on it purely says on the government website that the money is given to parish councils. The reason I have an interesting document here which I did mention last night, but I'm going to by showing it to you, I'm then going to disappoint you. This is the Section 106 agreement.
Oh yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Yeah, that's different because
It is different.
When I read this is McCarthy and Stone. When I found it, I said, "How much is coming?" Section 106. Well, we don't get any money for.
No, because it's
because
because they delegate it to projects or towards.
Section 106, different legislation.
Yeah.
However, when I read this, I thought, "Oh, hang on a minute, this is good news." So this talks about yada yada yada, but if I scroll through to the bottom end of it and say, let's carry on, planning obligations, covenants, enforceability, developer consent, termination, local entry. I'm sorry, I'm scrolling through quite quickly there. Dispute, looking for the costs. The cost was £350 or so. Delivery, right. Prior to the first occupation of any dwelling, to pay the first instalment of 81,697. Prior to the occupation of the 23rd dwelling, to pay the second instalment of 81,697, and prior to the occupation of the 35th dwelling, to pay the remaining 81,697, and not to occupy more than 24 dwellings until you paid the lot. So 245,000 was the Section 106 money, and I immediately got my calculator out and calculated 15%
of that. But it's different.
And then thought, whoop-de-doo, and then phoned David Esseltine, who
and
told
said,
me
no,
we don't
it's
get
not
it.
that.
Yeah, we don't get it.
No. Because they actually have input into what it's spent on.
Yeah.
Because if you don't stick by those rules, they can
Yeah.
withdraw it.
Well, there you go. This is during the period beginning from the receipt of the first instalment and ending 2 years following the receipt of the final instalment. The council shall only use the affordable housing contribution towards the provision of or enhancement of affordable housing within the wards of Bingley, Bingley Rural, Bowden and or Keighley East. And if at the end of that 2 year period any part of the affordable housing contribution remains unexpended or uncommitted, it should be used within the area of the Shipley Parliamentary constituency within a further 3 years. And if there are any left, McCarthy and Stone have a right to demand it back.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's why we need to report back on SIL every year.
Yeah.
Now, my thoughts were, having read that, is we as a council ought to be writing to Bradford Council and saying, you're getting a load of SIL money from McCarthy and Stone in our parish, where are you spending it? That says wards of Bingley, Rural, Bowden and or Keighley East.
So it's still, I thought that SIL had replaced 106.
It has, this is 2018.
I see, right.
It's
So,
like
so,
it's
so,
like-
so they're, right.
But they haven't got any penny of it yet because they haven't occupied
No, no.
any properties.
sold off.
But as we mentioned
As
last
we
night,
think. Well, certainly
I
haven't had
think
the-
they have.
Well, they haven't done the 35, so they haven't done the second one, you know. So my thoughts were that, you know, why don't we get the clerk to write to Bradford and say, under that agreement, section 121, you're going to spend it on affordable provisional enhancement of affordable housing within the wards of Bingley Rural. They might back to us and say Crossley Wood.
Yeah.
I don't know, they might do. But it's worth knowing, isn't it?
It's a bit disappointing though, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm making a proposal here that we should get the Eve to write to Bradford Met and say,
Seconded.
Yeah.
seconded.
Yeah,
Right.
all in favour.
Thank
All
you.
in favour.
Right. Did you get that?
I'm
Yeah,
just
he's got
checking
it.
Yeah,
it,
was it
teacher.
section 101? did you
Section
say?
106.
106.
Section 106 payments.
Yeah.
The good news from Councillor Heseltine was that the Stye Lane 450 houses have only got temporary planning permission and they haven't got full planning permission, so it won't be Section 106, it will be SIL.
Oh, that's
Really?
it.
Yes, but modern legislation.
Hopefully it'll be nothing.
Hopefully it'll be nothing, but if he does come forward, it will be SIL.
Well, they are going to
So
walk
you
away
wanted to
from
write
all
and
that
ask
money they
what the
spent,
use
have
for,
they?
yeah?
Sorry?
You wanted to write
Down
and
the walk
ask
away.
Yeah,
They
I
keep
can
trying to sell the
explain
site,
what it
don't
is
they?
under the draft minutes.
Are they? Yeah.
It's
Spent 7.5 million, haven't they, buying it originally?
it's Schedule 2,
Farmers lost
paragraph
their
121. 1.2.1. Schedule 2, paragraph 1. Okay,
Not too long,
so
yeah.
let's go back to the agenda.
Sorry, has that been voted on, that proposal?
Yeah.
Yes.
That was a new addition coming out of the SIL policy. The other proposal that was in front was for me to actually mark up the amended SIL policy and resubmit to this committee in January. So proposal
Thank you.
made by me, seconded by Philippa, and I think we're all in favour.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So 21-22 risk management, new or unacceptable levels of risk. Any councillors want to contribute to that statement?
No, but I've got a question,
Okay.
which is we have in the past had risks come here and we've noted them and whatever. But what happens to them? Do we need to review them? Having made a decision on changing places, do we need to get rid of some of the ones we've raised in the past? When do we actually review the ones that exist?
The risks for changing places are embodied in the business case for changing places and are not registered on the risk management profile.
I'm sure you've raised it in one of these
Maybe
meetings
one.
before.
Yeah. Risk of
But there have been things that have come here and we just we acknowledge them and say they're a
in
risk
the
and
absence of the
then
clock
then they
to speed
disappear.
things along, can we note the question and
Yeah.
fire
Yeah.
it to the clock?
Yeah, for clarification.
So I would
yeah.
second that
Yeah.
question. So we have a all in favour. You can say yes.
Yeah,
no?
yeah.
So we've got a question for the clerk as to what happens to the risk and the risk management process once once either the full council or any subcommittee has raised a risk. What is the termination? How do we get it off the risk management? It's a great question again.
Yeah.
A good question. So, assuming no one else, let's move to 21-22-108, exclusion of the press and public. There are none now, so we'll move on to the cleaning
Do
contract
you need to
and
turn this off?
turn off the recording. So, recording